This is a short clip from today's podcast episode.
So let's talk about 25 years. You've been through a long story yourself. So
Yes.
Let's talk about one or two things that almost took you out, and maybe one or two things that you didn't expect and pivoted you off to a road to greater success. Maybe.
Well, I think that some of the big changes I've seen is who the media are. It used to be newspapers, magazines, trade publications, TV, radio, the obvious ones. But then over 15 years ago, bloggers, came into the space. And to be honest, the newswire wasn't very accepting of bloggers at first. And I fought for bloggers. I was just like, in one case, I mentioned to my contact at the newswire, they're not a trade publication, but you do realize they get more traffic than the trade publication. Right. And they looked at it and they came back and said, you're right. We've decided we're going to start accepting bloggers. And so that was such resistance, but now they are so open. There are so many social media influencers that have journalist access at the wire. Wow. I follow a guy on TikTok called Snackalator, and each week he does a roundup of fast food places, new stuff hitting fast food places. He also does a roundup of new snacks hitting retail space. And he says, all these images are coming from press releases that I'm getting. And so I haven't seen this yet on the shelves, but it's supposed to be hitting right now. And it just puts one picture after another. In the fashion arena, there are Instagram influencers that are really big and doing really well with fashion as well as makeup. And so where we get news from is evolving. But the great thing is the newswire is also evolving and working with these people. And so that's been really cool over the years to do. And, I also have a vulnerability story that I'm going to share where I used to be part of a marketing mastermind, and I would meet 4 times a year with other business owners. And that really just, greatly improved my business because I wasn't a marketer. I wasn't a business guy. My degree is a master's of fine arts in creative writing with an emphasis in poetry. So, I just fell into this business through several different accidents and really became a huge supporter of press releases because I was working at a telecom startup and I was employee number 3 and they asked me to figure out press releases and I did. And I got really good at it. And I was just like, wow, this is like really moving the needle in our business.
Nice.
And I want to support other small businesses to have the same sort of experience. And so that's sort of what got me involved in it. And that's really great. But one thing that I always complained about in my marketing mastermind year after year was my turnover. I kept editors for about a year and they left one after another. And finally, one of the HR people that was in my group said, look, I don't work with small businesses, but I will interview your staff. I'll interview your customers and I'll figure out what the problem is. And I'll look at your job postings because those are probably bringing the wrong people. Yeah. And they came back to me and they said, Mickey, your staff is great. Your customers, say that the customer service is excellent. They love the experience. But the problem is you. Your staff hates working under you because you're a micromanager and you never praise them and you just pick apart everything they do wrong on a daily basis, sometimes several times a day. And, later that day, one of the employees was talking on the phone and they told a customer no about something. And I was just like, ooh, I hate saying no. Because I'm trying to tell them as a marketer, is there a way you could reframe it without saying no?
Definitely.
And in that case, they were asking, do you offer only local distribution? And then they were like, no, we don't offer that. And I was like, oh, but we do offer local saturation. You just have to explain. While we do have a local saturation option that you could put on top of the national distribution. So you're going to all the local media that are only interested in local content, but you're also getting the national distribution. And so I was standing behind her and saying that. And then I just realized I can't help myself. I am a micromanager. So I put the entire office together, which is only 5 people at the time. And I said, I'm going home. Allison's in charge. If you need anything, you've got my phone, you've got my email address, but I'm not going to micromanage you guys anymore. You're doing a great job and just keep it up. And you're never going to have every conversation the way I would phrase it. But people are having a great experience. I'm just getting out of your way. Everybody that was there then, that was April of 2015, is still there. And so I was the problem. I got out of my own way. And the business has grown like gangbusters because I'm sitting at home focusing on education like this. I'm also focusing on strategy and marketing. And I'm not, tripped up by the day-to-day conversations my staff are having. And, so I got out of my own way.
Nice.
But I couldn't figure out how to do it in the office. I had to actually physically break away and get outside of the office.
Yeah, good for you. And you had somebody who could take over. So that is probably, or not probably, I would say it is the hardest thing for any business owner to do.